So I'm going to tell you about 2020. So each year the Core Council comes up with priorities. You heard about the priorities we came up with for this current year. And you've heard a little bit about it if you've been in the sanctuary already. And so I'm going to let you know about our 2020 priorities. Now, this is what we're focusing on in addition to everything that we do on a regular basis. So we do a lot here. We want to make it so that people can come and go 7 days a week and do whatever they want to do in here and get spiritually fed and grow their life from a spiritual foundation. And we like to set priorities because it keeps us focused on certain things, and that's what the staff then will focus on to ensure that we unveil. Well, the first one was to complete a few that weren't completed because the projects are just too big. You've already heard about it from Petra. I know that by Easter, when we have probably 300 to 400 children here, because we'll have to be prepared for that, that there'll be a playground. And that our kids in Joy Village can play and express themselves outside, and that'll be a lot of fun. The other thing is the spiritual maturity map. It's going to finally be unfolded in its entirety. And it's a way in which you can look. It's like a map, and you can see where there are gaps in your map from a spiritual transformation perspective. And there's also going to be an assessment tool. It'll be similar to like Myers-Briggs, where you can take this assessment and then be able to find out, okay, this is, again, where some gaps are. So we're excited about that. And then supporting our neighbors. If you look around here, we have two big things. We have a lot of office buildings and apartments, but there are a lot of office complexes, and there are even more. So we're launching the CSLDallas Institute, and that is to provide tools and training for our business neighbors. We want to bring mindfulness into the business place. We want to help people in this area to reduce their stress and have stress relief. Give them a place that they can come and meditate during their lunch hour or right after work or whenever they want to do that. And to share value-based leadership with these companies. So with the help of Sherry and Cheryl Newman leading the way on that with Petra, then we're going to start touching the lives of businesses in our surrounding area. We want to give ways in which you can connect more deeply in person. Online is great. I hear from a lot of people, well, I watch your talk online. But you know what? It's not the same as when we're in person with one another, and we want to connect deeply with one another in person. So you heard that today. That's what Joe focused on, that Tracy Brown and I are going to, and with the help of some practitioners, are actually going to do a healing service where there is healings going on. We are a teaching and a healing order, and we're going to bring the healing to bear even more so in this community. Petra's going to offer a timeless wisdom gathering, so I expect it to be as popular, if not more, than the Wednesday night experience that we have. So she's developing that. And then I know that there are people that sometimes need a bridge from, perhaps they've left their Christian roots in a community. Maybe they're just interested in the teachings of Jesus from a metaphysical perspective. So I'm going to offer that. And we have opened our meditation chapel 4 days a week, starting at noon to 7 p.m. Right? Petra? Yes. So anytime that anybody wants to just come in and be still, we have the space available. And for our members, like the 14 that just became members last week, and then also for our devoted members, we're going to have events that are strictly for members, and some that are strictly for devoted members. And so that people that have been here and have decided to make it their official spiritual home by becoming members, then people can come together and go deeper and connect with one another. This is also exciting. I don't know that people really realize, as Peter said, there are 450 centers for spiritual living internationally. Predominantly they are in the United States. We're growing in leaps and bounds internationally. I've served at that CSL leadership level now for 12 consecutive years. Peter also has served at that leadership level for more years than that, I'm sure, 30. And also Tracy Brown is the chair of the Leadership Council, which is the board of Centers for Spiritual Living. So like Dana Jones is a chair of our core council, well, Tracy Brown, this is like her fifth year of being the chair of the core council or the Leadership Council. We are we are ahead of most of the centers, and we talk to a lot of ministers, and we have gatherings, and they came here last year in October, and this community became their mental equivalent. They could see that they could go from a 50 to 100 person community and become a campus like this in $1 million budget community. They were astounded by what we offer. We continue to give things away, and we're going to do more now. We're going to give away more things online to not only people at other centers, but people that never walk into a center for spiritual living. So we're going to have downloadable pamphlets and booklets, so people can just download how to do an affirmation. What is an affirmation, for example? And give that out to anybody that they want. The workshops that Peter and I developed and delivered here first this year, we are turning those into e-courses. So this relationship workshop that we're about to do, thanks to Ryan and his team, they're in little small bites, and then people can pay and register, and in the privacy of their own home and their own pacing, take those courses all over the world. We're going to start doing some short videos. Two people came up to me and said they want to do a podcast. So, hey, anybody, so we can do more with your help. Yes, and so they have this bursting idea about a podcast. I said, let's talk about it. So, and then we are going to do more of the guided spiritual mind treatments. Andrew Tinker and Peter and I did that a few years ago. They're on our website now still, and we're going to do more of those. And that's just the beginning. We want to produce more content for people to transform their lives. Like I said this morning, we won't ever see it. We may never know about it, but we're going to give it away. And so that is a priority for us. And, oh, well, I could have been doing that the whole time, but you know what? That's okay. That's just what I talked about. Yes. I want to share a conversation that I had recently with a fellow colleague in Faith for Dallas. She's the first ever Presbyterian minister and the first ever minister, period, in the country whose ministry is about reducing gun violence. And we were having a conversation, and it was about this compassion walk, and I turned in my pistol that I'd had since I was a freshman in college so that they could cut it up and melt it and turn it into a garden tool, which you can do that as well if you'd like. Get with me, I'll tell you how. Anyway, we were talking, and it was just this nice little conversation, and it was leading to a place for next year, this idea that they have. And I said, oh, you really ought to talk to Georgianne Moss. Is Georgianne here still? There she is, Georgianne. And I said, hey, you ought to talk to Georgianne Moss. You know, she really works with her new job and blah, blah, blah. And Deanna said, Georgianne Moss? You mean Georgianne and King Moss? And I was like, yes. And they said, oh my God, we know them. Our kids went to school together. They're our neighbors and all that. And she said, well, they must have moved to Dallas, like close to us. And I said, well, I don't know. She said, well, they live in Sunnyvale. I said, yeah, I don't think they've moved. And she said, surely they don't drive that long of a way to come to your community. And I looked it up, and I said, actually, they're still in Sunnyvale. That's what their address. And she said, you know, I keep hearing about your community, CSLDallas, amongst, you know, all of these faith leaders and out in Dallas. She said, there must be something really special going on for somebody to drive over an hour to get here. And I said, there is. And we have some people driving 2 hours. And this is the community that you all have put together. And people are starting to hear about it. and they're wanting to know, what is this place about? So that was really cool. And then the vision is, like Peter said, when it comes to the Metro Crest Chamber of Commerce, to have the mayor of Farmers Branch say that this is his mental equivalent for what he wants this city to be, dropped me almost to my knees for the second time in this community. And there are people in Richardson, so it's Farmers Branch, Richardson, no, sorry, thank you. See, I know who knows. It's Farmers Branch, Carrollton, and Addison. And I've said this before, and I'm standing really firm on one leg on this. I've been watching these past few years here in Dallas, Texas, only because I've only been here these past few years. But I really do believe that how Dallas, Texas goes in the 21st century is how this nation's going to go. Just like in the 19th century, how Los Angeles went, so did the country go. In the 20th century, how New York City went, so did the country go. Actually, it was flipped. New York in the 19th, LA in the 20th. And it's been predicted how Dallas, Texas goes, so the country goes. And I tell you what, not only do I serve this community, and so does Petra and the leadership to the nth and the breadth, but I promise you this, I want this community to make sure that it informs how Dallas, Texas goes, so that that informs how the country goes, so that for the next 55 years in this nation, we may never know about it, but a small group of people, hundreds if not thousands of people, made a decision that we were going to be radically inclusive. We were going to live from spiritual principles. We're going to look for the good and praise it. We're going to stand for what we want and not against what we don't want. We're going to keep standing for what our vision of this world is. It's supposed to work for all, no exceptions. There's no one left out of that, and that includes the sentient beings in Mother Earth, and that we are the ones that we've been waiting for, and it started in CSLDallas. We're going to change this nation by the love and the power and the presence and the peace and the joy and the beauty and the creativity and the oneness that we stand for. That global vision will and is already made manifest. And we can do this. So we have something greater than what's in these four walls. And I know we feel it. And next year is, I can't tell you what the theme is, but I am telling you what, next year is an important year. And if you want to be a part of this vision and you see something that this community ought to be doing, bring it. But don't bring it unless you're willing to take it up. That's right. The staff can't take up more. But if you say, I have this idea and I got a couple of friends over here and or I'll go find some people that'll help, bring it. Because we don't know what's going to keep growing this community. All right. We love you so much. 2020 is a great year already because you're here. And so it is.